Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Not a Road Runner. So today is a very exciting episode, and we've had a lot of build up. So today we are going to fit the Plymouth's new wheels and make sure that they don't rub, because I have to admit I'm pretty concerned about it. So I'm going to bring you along for the journey, and then yeah, we're going to see how good they look. Let's get to it.
So the first step is to jack up your car. So this is pretty self-explanatory. I used an impact, but you could just use a long bar and remove your wheel studs, or actually your wheel nuts, and so we can install the new wheels. The studs do a pretty good job of holding it in place, but I always put one wheel nut on it just in case, to make sure it doesn't slide off and smash on the floor. I always get all 5 nuts in and hand tighten them all as much as I can before I tighten them up with the impact as far as I can with a low torque setting, and then I get the torque wrench out. Something to note is that with the spinner actually blocks some of the wheel nuts. So you have to undo the grub screw, which is on the outside, and either unspin it or just spin it out of the way so you can get to the wheel nut. Also, when torquing your wheels, you should definitely do it in a star pattern. So cross over at every time until you've tightened all 5. I tightened mine down to 120 Newton meters incrementally. So I did 90 and then 120. One thing you need to remember is obviously you need to reinstall the grub screw, because otherwise your spinner could just spin off and you'll end up with just the hub. So as you can see, now that we've got one in, it is just going to be a rinse and repeat process for all 4 wheels. So let's get to that, and then we can get it down off of the jack stands and we can see what the fitment looks like. Now, I don't know about you guys, definitely leave a comment down below on what your thoughts are, but I think these look absolutely mad. The extra width on the tyre is really filling out the guard, as you'll see in a minute, and I am absolutely loving the look that I have got. Also, just to keep you guys updated, I have been driving around quite a lot, and I've somehow managed to lose one spinner, so the whole centre section has come out, so obviously I hadn't tightened that in enough, and the other side wasn't actually my fault. The spinner was binding, so I couldn't undo it and therefore couldn't tighten the lugs back up, and then it snapped off whilst driving down the dual carriageway, which was definitely not fun. So we've got 2 more spinners on the way. Another thing of note, and a bit of a top tip, is that once you've installed your wheels, after the first few 100 miles, you need to come back and re-torque your wheel studs, just in case that they've loosened themselves over the course of the first portion of driving. So I can't lie, this portion was actually really nerve-wracking because I was really worried about the width of the rear tyre, and when you actually looked at it vertically, it looked like it definitely wasn't going to fit. So actually lowering this down, that's why I did it so slowly, just in case that basically I was going to have to roll the fenders. But as I lowered it down, the geometry of the rear diff fixed itself, and it is really snug.
So as you can see, it's a pretty tight fitment, but works pretty well. This side, however, isn't the bad one. This side is more where we have some sort of scrubbing issues. As you can see there, it's a bit closer, which isn't ideal, but they work.
So it has been a long old road with delivery, getting them painted, fitting the spinners, losing the spinners, and now getting them installed. But honestly, I think they look sweet. The extra width at the back is looking mean, and they look so good while they're driving along.
And that concludes today's episode, guys. So that was very exciting. I mean, I think they look great, especially when they're moving, because obviously you get the spinning, which is super cool. I mean, I literally love them. And the tyres, the width at the back is what sold me. Like, when you look at the comparison, I guess, when they were super skinny on one side and they're massive on the other side, it's so much more like muscle car-esque. And I love the little tucked, how the tyre tucks up. Hopefully when the suspension sags or we lower it, we'll get a nice, like, it'll cover up the top of the rim, which will look super, super clean. I do really want to do some 0 to 60 times with these wheels and the other wheels and compare. I mean, see, because I need to bed the tyres in first, but even taking it out just then to get those shots, they do feel a lot more grippy, actually, and the stopping is a lot better. So we'll need to, you know, get them all bedded in, and then we'll do some 0 to 60s with both of them, and hopefully not break my diff in the process, but we'll be able to see how much difference a big tyre difference, as in like width, will make to a 0 to 60 time. So I hope you enjoyed the episode, guys. Please like, subscribe, and share, and I will see you in the next episode. Cheers, guys.